Brother Alex. One second.
Hey there.
Cancel this. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, cool. Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Nice.
all good.
So, Brother Alex, I'd love to introduce Brother Mouhammed. He's probably my best friend, and he's basically we call him Black Jesus because he's probably the most patient person I've ever met, and he shows us the way, right? None of this would be possible without him. The little contributions that I've made, they pale in comparison to what Muhammad's done for the business. I've consulted. He's actually built this, right?
Yeah.
And he's got 5 years plus experience in high ticket sales, digital marketing. Like I said, he's spent 30K of his own cash testing ads just to find out what works. I don't want to do it, so I'm happy he has done it already for us. And yeah, it's a blessing to have him. He's probably one of my best friends. And it's a beautiful thing to kind of like how we have great conversations, a beautiful thing to have great conversations, honest, open, heart-centered, and it not just be about hopes and dreams, but actually tangible ways where we can where we can bring what we want into reality, right? So yeah, there we go. Mouhammed, me, Alex, Mouhammed. Great to have you guys on the call.
Hey there, my man.
Thank you. Okay, thanks for the introduction as well. Appreciate all of the warm things that you've said, and to throw it back to you as well. Like you've, I think, undersold yourself in terms of the contribution you've made to the organization. So it's a blessing to have you on board as well. And Alex, I've heard quite a bit about yourself too.
Yeah.
And it would be good to hear it not just from Carlton's words, but from your voice as well. Can you share a little bit about yourself? Tell us your background. What's your story, dude?
Well, where do I start?
The beginning.
So, for my job by trade, I'm a carpenter. I've been a carpenter for probably 14 plus years now.
Wow.
And I've got a lovely wife. I've got a lovely twins, 9-year-old twins. You'll probably, if they're not being a pain in the arse, run past me soon. But yeah, no, I've been married 10 years now. So yeah, that's a little snippet of who I am, and yeah, what else you want to know? If you want to know anything else, I'm quite open with everything, to be honest.
That's really cool. I think the first thing I want to know is because I really want twins myself. So what's the secret? How do we get that to work?
What positioning do we need to be in?
Are we going that far now, Carlton? Do you know what? It's been that long, I forgot.
You said something. You started it, mate. You said something the other day. It's like, oh, my other half. I'm like, I don't like the idea of other half. I prefer other whole, but it sounds a bit weird when you're talking about your missus.
Yeah. But yeah, no. To be honest, mate, we joked about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. We did joke about it because we found out we were obviously pregnant, and obviously you go for your first scan and whatnot. And we joked about it going up to, say, the maternity ward and whatnot, and just yeah. From then it was just a shock.
Wow.
And to put it all into perspective, we found out a day before our wedding that we were having the twins.
No way.
Yeah. So that was such an emotional day, week, year, let's say. So it was a big year for us. That year.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. Getting married and having double the kids, like it's just so many blessings all in one.
Yeah, it was mad.
And you said you've been married for like 10 years now, so
yes.
If you don't mind me asking, how old does that make you?
I'm 35.
Okay, so you got married about 25, and
yep.
Yeah, that's pretty young, like for most people. So How long were you all together before you got married? Was it?
I've been with her coming up to 18 years now.
Wow.
Since next year will be 18 years. So when I was 18.
Yeah.
So high school sweethearts.
Yeah. Well, we kind of met mainly in college, but
close enough.
It was, that was good. Yes, you can have an apple. Go on.
Is that one of the twins?
One of, yeah.
Yeah. Identical as well, or?
Boy and a girl.
So they can't be. They can't be identical.
Done, dusted.
Yeah.
That's it. Done. Tying a knot. I'm happy.
So yeah, that's really awesome. And you said you've been in carpenting. Is that the only real career that you've explored, or have you done anything else?
Well, so my trade is carpentry. I've done all sorts of aspects in building and whatnot, general maintenance. I've done plumbing for a very small amount, but didn't really like that. I'm actually in a joinery shop at the minute, which people think it's carpentry, but it's a completely different ball game, different world. But yeah, like I say, I don't know if Carlton mentioned, I've done a bit of affiliate marketing. I went through for a course. I was enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, I was really enjoying it. But for me, the sort of the overheads on the advertising and stuff was where I sort of struggled and sort of run out. And so the sort of process of that just sort of ran out for me. I was like, well, I can't do it if I can't generate any income to be able to advertise. You need the advertisements to do the marketing, so to speak. So
they call it a pay to play model, where it's one of those games, because the way that I view it, it's a game at the end of the day. It's one of those games of which you have to have quite a bit of cash to go and get the skills to be really good at it. And if you don't have the bit of cash, then you just got to wait a long time. So that's what it was like for me. I was competing against people back when I first started out my social media marketing journey. People who they came from backgrounds already having businesses. They came from backgrounds of growing up in wealthy families. So, investing 600 to a couple of £1,000 a month just wasn't really that much of a deal breaker for them. But for me, I was working like minimum wage salary job back in Nando's restaurant, and literally I would work for about 6 months straight, maybe even longer than that. It might have been about 2 years. I was working in Nando's, and I was literally doing about 50 hours a week. All of my money that I was getting, because I was living at home as well, was just going straight into ads, because I believed that at some point, once I figure this thing out, I'm going to have a machine to which I can literally put in 1, 2, 3, £4 into ads, and it'll double, it'll triple. But I just need to figure it out. And I just kept on going with it, for years. And it was crazy, because now I look back and I'm like, I probably wasted a lot of cash because I didn't necessarily need to make the mistakes that I did, or I could have made the ads differently. Now, my philosophy is that it's a case of when you look at what the big dogs really say, it's like, as much as you don't want to follow what they say, most of the time what they're saying because it's the truth. And so the best investor of all time, I don't know if you're aware of him, but it's Warren Buffett. And his number one rule of investing, do you know what it is?
No.
His number one rule of investing is never lose money.
Is he an Asian guy? Is he that? No. Who am I thinking?
Warren Buffett, the American guy. He owns a company called Berkshire Hathaway. And he's like one of the about fourth or fifth richest person in the world, but it's all from investing. And
was that in one of your video in the video? Did you include that in the video?
Probably, yeah. Investing 101.
I think I remember it now. Yeah.
So he basically says, never lose money. And I broke that rule from day one, because I didn't realize the game that I was playing, and I didn't really have much awareness of that rule. So
Yeah.
with the people coming on board with us right now, my thing is I want to make sure that nobody loses money. Nobody loses
Yep.
their own money, which is why, number one, people don't use their own money. So the leverage of the people, strategy of the wealthy. And number two is that when they do invest their money, they're not relying on their own skills. They're relying on an expert skills of somebody who has got the experience that myself and the team has. Like Carlton probably has a lot more closing experience than I do, but and we can agree, have a lot more lead generation experience. So combined, it's like, you've got the expertise of two world-class sales and marketers, and with that being said, the likelihood of losing money at that point reduces significantly, because we're essentially looking to get the best result from it too, because Carlton's probably said to you before, if you don't make money, then we don't make any profits as well from doing this deal. So we don't have any desire whatsoever to not make money. We want to make that work for both of us. So I can see how and why, when you tried the social media marketing, affiliate marketing before, it didn't work, because it didn't work for me until it started working. And
like I said, I see the potential. Like I said, there's you can see the potential of affiliate marketing, and like I say, I know how I want to do it and how I wanted to do it. It's just the initial.
Yeah,
that was the only thing.
What was the products that you partnered with?
Well, it was it's an educational company who they were called Launch You. They're quite a big, and they do really, really well. And I was basically just affiliating. So there was a part of it where you can do like a done for you part of it. But there was like different tiers and whatnot. And I only had the lowest tier, and I was just sort of learning on my own and trying to figure it out myself, rather than paying someone to sort of be hands-on, teach me, blah, 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 blah. It would have been great having someone hands-on, like one-to-one, so to speak. But obviously that comes at a cost. And obviously coaching and stuff, it comes at a cost, but it's a great aspect to have. So basically they set you all up on how to do affiliate marketing. They'll set you up on build your own website, and then from there you can have like all the domain and everything like that is yours to keep and do whatever you want with. So basically they're just training you up to do that, and then they had like a separate part of it where you can become like an ambassador for them, and do the affiliate side of the thing, and then obviously advertise the actual you weren't actually doing the selling, so you're just advertising where you were, how you came to come across this thing, and send people their way. So obviously I had like a landing page all set up. I had Aweber, I had automated emails, everything like that, all set up. And obviously nothing came of it because I ran out of the part that you sort of need. I had all the building blocks and all the foundation done. It's just the next part of it.
Just needed the water.
Right.
You had the funnel, you just didn't have the water. So, like that's good that you have an awareness as to like how a funnel works and what is the moving parts of a funnel, because like some of the investors that have come on board, they have no idea. They're just like, I can make a return on investment, cool, here's the money, and there you go, take it. But I think it's always good to like have an idea as to what contributes to the funnel, because then you can appreciate the art that's gone into making ours the way that it is. So for example, when you have come through, you'll have seen the top of the funnel, the front end, which is the advertisement, and you'll be like, okay, from what I'm seeing out of different ads out there, this one actually caught my attention, so that kind of ticks the boxes with that. And then the next one in the funnel is, you might come through, fill out a form, asked some good questions, had a good conversation. It was Carlton, was it, that you spoke with first?
Yes.
Anthony. Was it Anthony?
Yeah.
I spoke to someone on the phone.
Yeah. So
Thing. Yeah.
That would have been Anthony. So
that confused me a little bit. The phone call was really out of the blue.
No, so this is
That's
it.
all good.
Like, you experienced the automation and the non-automation. So that's the guys doing the phone calls. Anthony probably had a call and like, okay, this is interesting. So he's done his job, and then the next person goes through. You're also receiving emails. So you're seeing like every part of the funnel and like how it relates to what you'd have had set up as well. I think another thing to bear in mind is like not just looking at the sales and marketing system, but also it's like when you did the other one before, you said it was an educational platform. Like, did you buy the educational platform because you wanted to be educated by what was in there, or like what was the contents of it?
No, it was basically what the guy. It's basically selling a lifestyle, freedom, financial freedom, and bits and pieces like that. The guy that I actually, so the ad that I went through was a guy. He was a carpenter, so obviously all of his funnels worked, all of his bloody advertisement stuff worked because he was a carpenter. He'd been doing it 8 years, and he'd ended up not quitting his job and living digital lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? So it's, like I say, I know all the ins and outs. Well, not in the ins and outs, but I know how it worked and how it came for me to get to the point where I was. And I was like, I could do that. Why can't I do that? So I ended up going through all the, but yeah. There's one part of me that was like, yes, I could have tried to get a bit more resourceful in things, but obviously life and kids and it becomes a lot.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why, in our industry in particular, like affiliate marketing, network marketing, online business, what I see a lot of, because I've been to these events and I've met community leaders, experts, I see a lot of communities where it's just the leader who has attracted 100 or 1,000 people just like him. So, for example, you came through to his because it's like, oh, he's a carpenter, I'm a carpenter, so this must mean that it would work better for me because I'm also a carpenter, and if it works for me. And I feel like the reason for why this is the case is because a lot of these are the opportunities where you have to do it yourself. You need to not just bring the time to it, but you need to bring the belief to it. And if you don't believe that you can actually get the result, then you're definitely not going to get the result. But if you have the belief, then there's a high likelihood that it's going to actually work. Now, the interesting thing about our community is that it's the complete opposite. So you don't need to bring belief to the table about how what we're doing is going to work for you, because you don't have to do the work yourself. And so what we actually notice is that within our community, we have such diversity, and people that we meet, it's like, oh, you're super different to who we are and what we're like. We literally have one of the most diverse communities out there with like countries from many different continents. So I believe that the reason why is because you don't have to essentially do the heavy lifting yourself. So it's a little bit different in that sense. But to some degree, you still got to have the belief that you can receive the money, because you've never done any type of investment before, I'm guessing.
Nope.
No.
Well, not investment, but he's on his second home, which is in addition to the 999 credit score.
I know.
This is his second home. So not necessarily investments, but in terms of financing and going through the legal processes and the hoops that you have to jump through. I would say for your age, you're pretty well versed.
Yeah. I think I got my first house at 23. So I had my first house at 23.
And you in that to live in or to rent, was it?
Live.
Yeah.
I've never rented.
Okay.
I got on the property ladder as soon as I could.
Nice. That was thanks to your mom, right?
Yeah, she was quite a hard ass on me. I do probably, but to be honest, I was very, very lucky. I managed to get a 44-year mortgage for myself. Don't ask me how. I just managed to get a 44-year mortgage, which got my payments down massively. So
Yeah, that's
So
a long time.
that was nice.
just for some context, Mo, like they want to, obviously the financial institutions, you're aware, they want to give the loan for the shortest period of time. So the
Yeah,
longer you go for, the less likely you are to get it. And the
yeah,
fact that he got that 44 years and sold that, got this next house
yeah.
um, on not a massive salary as well, is
hmm
a testament to the smart financial decisions that you've made, which is the part of the reasons.
I'd say more my wife, but yeah, me, I'll take a bit of credit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a family thing, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's done well there, financially speaking. But I'm guessing the reason why you came through and why you're looking to do things like affiliate marketing or, lock arms and work with us is because working as a carpenter is just not enough and you want to have more. So, um, yeah, I mean, what do you feel like the next best steps are for yourself from where we are right now?
I'd say my next best step is, like I say, I don't know how far Carlton's told you about. Obviously, I've got to sort of convince the wife because she's my bank, my diary, and a lot of things I go through her. I was explaining to Carlton that we took out a loan a couple of years back, and obviously had like some home renovations to do, other bits and pieces, and there was like I wasn't in the best of spaces, like headspace and whatnot. And I'd done an impulse thing. I wasn't happy with where I was working, and I thought I need to find something out.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting myself into a electrical course, learning to be an electrician, and that cost me £7,000,
Yep.
and I haven't done anything with it. So my wife's been like sort of, well, £7,000 gone. We're still paying for it and done nothing with it. So it's like I'm on the foot of we can't do that. We're still paying off the one loan. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. Don't jump into things. Can't spend any money. Birthday's coming up. Christmas coming up. So it's like for me, I want to jump and do it, but it's the wife I got to keep happy. Happy wife, happy life.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And one of the things that you said over there is that you have to convince the wife. So
Yeah.
my question for you now would be, based off of what you understand about this opportunity, how you feel about it, and knowing what your wife is like and how she feels about you going into things like this, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put the likelihood of her saying 100% yes, go for it, I'm going to be happy with you doing it? Where would you put that right now on a scale of 1 to 10 in her response? If you were to
2.
convince her. A 2 out of 10.
2.
Okay. So why do you say 2 out of 10?
She is very stubborn. She's very cautious with spending, and her her home is everything to her.
Yeah.
Her work, her kids, her everything is. She was a very independent person. So when she was growing up, she had to be independent. I'm not going to go too far into it. So everything she's done, she's been so independent with it. So like, even though she's not working the best hours and she's not earning enough as much as what I am at the minute, she still wants to try and pay her way, her half, her way. And we've always been 50-50 on everything. Obviously, for the last 2 years, obviously it's been more 80-20 or 70-30. but she does everything in her power to be able to pay, and tries to save every penny. She's got lists on lists on lists on lists of where's this money, this money's here, and writes a list on what's coming out, what's going out, and everything like that. So it's convincing her to either, so to speak, part with money or get into more debt, so to speak. That's the area where I've just got to try and I'm going to try and I'm going to try and speak to her, but it's quite a hard conversation. But like me and Carlton said, we want to try and I'll try and get her to watch a video and see if we can push her in the right direction.
Yeah.
Or guide her, not push her.
Yeah. So of course, yeah. So you're basically saying at the moment it's a 2 out of 10, and the reason why is because a lot of it is her own belief system and relationship with money. Like, she's a big saver, she's very aware about where the money's going, and she has this apprehension to go into more debt for other investments because of how things went before when you were involved the previous time. So would you say that let's say you're out of the picture and somebody else came to her and said to her, like, you know, there's a way of which we're going to be able to help you replace your income from your 9 to 5 with certain investments, whether it's property, real estate, online investments. Would you say that she's the type of person that would be open to speaking with, you know, another professional about it, or is she just completely closed-minded to any opportunities and wouldn't consider it whatsoever?
She's very closed-minded. Mm-hmm. She is very closed-minded. She's anything that she can't physically. I think she gets it a lot from her dad, because her dad's a general builder, and he's like, all the cash is like physical cash, like this, that, and the other, and doesn't want to. So it's like we've been so long without actually having a credit card. Like literally in the last 4-5 years ago, I think, obviously when the kids were getting a bit older and would do holidays and whatnot, that's the first time we actually got a credit card.
Yeah.
So we hadn't had a credit card like for 10 years before, or 6 years or so before.
Yeah.
She's always been brought up, so right, whatever you want, you have to save your money to get it. If you don't have the money, you can't do it. And she's been like that quite a lot. And I've sort of been that way, because my mum and dad sort of said to me that sort of way as well. But my mum and dad sort of pushed me into sort of, okay, if you want to, so like financing cars. Like, I've never had an old car. I've always had, but not an old car, but my first car was a brand new car. Because my mum and dad sort of pushed me into the sort of financial side of things, and then right, you 3 years of that, you can either pay off a balloon payment or you can just get the next one. So you sort of building up on that. But where she was, right, you got 1,000 quid, go buy a little shitter and buy yourself a car and do it that way. So we're very, very different in that respect, but we work really well together. But it's the convincing part on her stubborn and very direct sort of, this is what I've got, this money, this is how much I've got. If I don't have the money, I can't do anything with it. I can't do anything.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is that it's not even anything about you. Even if we took you out of the picture and there was somebody who, like, let's say, for example, Warren Buffett walks into the house and says, I've got this investment that I want to partner on with you, she would be too close-minded about it, because she basically wouldn't want to go and give her money away to pretty much anything like that. So it doesn't matter who it is, even if it's Warren Buffett, it's not going to work. So here's the thing. This is one potential scenario that we're looking at right now, which is you essentially go ahead, have a conversation with her, try to convince her, and the likelihood of her saying yes, being supportive of it, is a 2 out of 10. That's one scenario that we've got, but it's not the only scenario that's on the table, because I can see some other ones. Other than this, let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, if you didn't go and consult your wife first before going ahead and essentially moving forwards, what would that look like? What would that scenario be?
I've sort of spoken to Carol because I sort of said to myself, "Oh, it would be lovely if I could just do it like out of the blue and just sort of say, hey, here you go. There's like I've just earned $5,000, so to speak."
Yeah.
It's the part where literally last night we were speaking about it. It's like, I don't want you to get anything without telling me. Like, don't borrow any money without letting me know. But for me, I'm like, yeah, I can't really, because that's trust. That's the trust that what we have as a marriage and a couple. We do this together. Yeah. So I thought that, but that's my impulsive brain thinking again. Like, I want to go for it. Yeah, I want to do it. Yeah. But this is where she steps in and kicks me sort of down a notch.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is that like she's essentially like the head in the relationship.
Like I was saying to Carl, and it's okay. You can say she wears the trousers.
Yeah, you're the heart. She's the head. And you know, the thing with this is that if you think about the potential scenario that we're looking at over here, you're basically saying that by you going ahead and not consulting her first, what ends up happening is that there's a potential loss of trust between you and her.
Yeah.
Is that even if you come back with 5K?
That's so hard because it's a very, very unlikely scenario. Well, I'm just saying, as in this is something from my position. It's a very unlikely scenario to picture. Do you see what I mean? It's yeah.
So
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to know her reaction.
Well, obviously, because you guys, both of you, see her as the head, especially in financial matters, that she would feel a bit upset that she wasn't consulted, right?
Yeah.
Which is understandable. But going back to one thing that you said was that she said, "Don't make sure you let me know before you get anything." So is that she just wants to be involved, or that she's the one that makes the ultimate decision?
To be honest, it's probably grown more to be she makes the decisions, because if before I couldn't make the decisions, and that's why it's sort of we balance out. She's the one that controls, like, sort of, okay, I was trying to get away from the control part, but she's not controlling, but she's very good with controlling the money and like keeping things. Because if it was down to me, then yeah, I'd probably have to learn again on what things are coming out and sort of make it. But she helps me a lot with keeping stuff organised and on track in a straight line. I could probably do it, but I'd be all here and there and everywhere. I don't know whether it's a part of an ADHD thing that I've got, keeping things straight. But yeah, she's the one that's more controlling. And I keep saying controlling. Is she controlling? I'm sort of saying it. It's making me realise.
It's not that she's controlling, but you've intentionally given her control over some things.
True.
Going back to the conversation we had earlier today, the same way I submit to Mouhammed's strengths, I give him control of marketing stuff and a lot of other things like content creation and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
You've consciously, intentionally given her control over the day-to-day finances, right? Yeah. But obviously, we've said that her strength is it safe to say her strength is not when it comes to investments or things that aren't traditional? She's not into it. That's not where.
She's not a risk taker. Let's put it that way. She doesn't like taking risks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whereas I'm more open to taking risks.
And going back to the role of men and women and husband and wife, women look for security. They're hardwired like that.
Yeah.
Mo, have you seen that? I'm looking for a guy in finance, 6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what they're wired to look for. But the men are the ones that are hardwired to actually go out and take those risks and come back with the stuff, which is why there's no comparison when it comes to male business owners versus female.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't it's no one is telling you to take control of the day-to-day spending. That doesn't make any sense, but submitting to people's strengths where it is great. But if her strength isn't where it comes to taking risks, then is that something that we really want to submit to her on?
It's a hard one. I don't know.
What are you most afraid of?
What am I most afraid of? I don't know. It's never been asked that question. I don't know. Losing my family.
Yeah, I can see that. I can really see that.
Yeah.
It's like I do a lot of these calls, and you get to a point where you start to see patterns within people, and very quickly, like if you recall the beginnings of the conversation, the topic of the conversation, what were we talking about? We're talking about this marriage that you've had for 18 years, talking about your twins who are like some of the things that you take the most pride in, and like I can see it straight away that that's where your heart lies. And so a big part of that is the relationship that you have between you and her. And so what we want to support you with, I want to make this very apparent to you, is put the money aside for a second, put all of that aside. What we want to help you is to have the best story when it comes to how you were able to transform what is your family life right now into something way better than it currently is. Because for me, if I'm being really honest with you, if you're in a position right now to which you're afraid to go and make decisions that are actually going to be beneficial to all of your family because of the current relationship that you have with your wife, that kind of shows that there's a lot of room for growth in that particular area. Because in a healthy relationship, for somebody to, as a man, like go and make a decision, and have support around it, like in a healthy relationship, that's not going to be something that will make the guy feel as though I'm going to lose this person right now. It's going to be a case of, even if I've made the wrong decision over here, whoever I'm with, we're committed in this relationship. We're going to stick with each other. The worst thing that's going to happen is that there might be some potential trust that's been lost, but we're going to stay with one another. And so what I'm seeing is that really there's an underlying issue with more so the relationship in itself rather than the business opportunity. And what I love about this, like the conversations that we get to have with people, is it exposes like what really needs work. And what I'm seeing is that it's in the relationship. And so I wanna ask you the question right now, like, what is it about your relationship you feel? Because that's probably the most important part of the family, right? When that breaks down, whole family breaks down. So what is it you feel like about your family, your relationship with your wife right now needs improvement with them? Where's the room for growth?
More more time together. Definitely. 100% more time together. Because we don't spend enough time together because of our current situation. She works 2 nights a week. And obviously she comes home from a night shift. I walk out the door. We're like crossing paths as soon as we like sort of say hi.
Bye.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bye. Go to work. I come home. So she's obviously had a 3-4 hour sleep during the day, and then she picks up the kids, and then she cooks some food, and then I come home from work. She goes up to bed for another couple of hours.
Yeah.
Just to refresh a bit more.
Yeah.
And then she gets up. Well, I go put the kids to bed, wake her up. She goes off to work. And that happens like 2 nights, but obviously she's got to recover from that another day or so. And she does a lot of the house cleaning and stuff during the day while I'm at work on the other end of the week.
Yeah.
And then she's got her own business with her TP setups and kids sleepover parties that she does at the weekends.
Yeah.
So there's the weekends I don't really get to see her as much. So yeah, it is time together.
Yeah. And if I can give you some insight and perspective as well, I actually have firsthand witnessed what it's like to live in and be a part of a dysfunctional family. Not that I'm married to anybody, not that I have any kids, but my parents do, and they have the 3 of us. So to give you a bit of an idea as to how the relationship went, when they were very similar age to yourself, I think my mum was about 26 or something like that when she got married, 25, and my dad would have been 25 as well. They got married, and it was everything to them to make a great family. Both of them, it was very important to them. So they went into the workplace, tried to provide a house for us. They got a mortgage like very quickly, straight away. So not this house, this is actually I think the 3rd house that they've got together, but we grew up in the 2nd house that they had, and this is now the 3rd one that I'm staying with them whilst I'm here in the UK. But yeah, essentially, like, they put everything towards building the family. So they sacrificed even their relationship to some degree, because at first when they got together, they would travel the world together. At first when they got together, they would go and play sports together. They on paper looked like it was absolutely perfect, but then what ended up happening was my dad, actually, kind of like yourself as well, wasn't too good with money. He was the one that, financially speaking, would leave everything to her, whilst he would do a lot of the work around the house, taking care of the kids. Bit of a role reverse there as well. My mum wore the trousers in the family for a lot of things, so I get how that works. And my mum, because of that, like, she started working overtime. She was climbing the corporate ladder. She was the one who was unwilling to go and put money in for investments and things like this. If we didn't have the money for it, she didn't want to put it in. She was happy to, put it into safe and secure things, because, again, like Carlton said, she valued the security. My dad was willing to take risks, but she was a lot more risk averse and a lot more stubborn. Now, the thing is just like you're describing, I grew up as almost being the family therapist, and it wasn't just me, it was my sisters. They would be the invigilators between my parents, because they were always bickering with one another when they had time together, because there was so much chaos going on within the household, and they barely had time for their own relationship because they were always doing other stuff. My dad wasn't with me, my mum would have been doing her own things, so they barely had time for another, and when they did, it was a lot of fighting back and forth. So you'd expect, right, you'd hope that when they both, and this has happened very recently, when they both retired and essentially started getting in their pension, and now they have all the time in the world to spend with each other, you would hope that it would actually make the relationship better. In actual fact, what happened is that it started to get worse. And they realized how much they couldn't stand each other when they started to spend more and more time with one another, because they hadn't dealt with their own issues internally, and so they were just projecting that onto each other, and it was making them have these arguments like 24/7. So it goes to the point where, like, you know, almost on the brink of divorce, and like, you know, it's a stage of which we don't want to see. And I'd say to some degree, like, the family right now, like, I don't necessarily spend too much time with my siblings. I don't spend that much time with my parents. My parents don't spend that much time with each other. And although they're not necessarily divorced legally, it feels like it. You know, it feels like they're spiritually divorced. So here's what I'm basically saying is that as much as the spending of time with one another could be a step into the right direction, it's not actually going to be the thing that solves the problem.
Yeah.
Because the problem is actually a lot more underlying as to whatever it is. And I believe that it's it's being able to get the fire back, but also bring more heart into the relationship again, instead of like worrying about the surface level stuff. Because something like time and money, you've not said once on the call that that's the most important thing to you. And I guarantee if I brought on your missus to the call as well, she wouldn't say time and money is the most important thing to her either. So even if we was to change that, it would be a step into the right direction, but it's just the surface level stuff. It's more so what's in the heart that is what we've got to really take a look at. So yeah, with yourself, like I would say that initially, if we could get you some more time and money back, I think what would be really good for you all to do is like look at potentially, especially yourself as well, like having a genuine map. And I think this is why, like, with me, I didn't want to destroy my relationships with the rest of my friends and my family, but I just went and did it anyway. I just went and took the plunge and started to take these risks, and I knew that they would get pissed off with it. The amount of people who have been pissed off with the decisions that I've made, Carlton's laughing because he already knows, like, I just literally have a mindset of I don't care. And I'm not saying that I don't care about the people. I don't care about their opinions, because their opinions are not them. So what I really care about is the people, and I care mostly about myself and them. And I did an assessment, and I basically looked at, well, if I continue going in the direction that I'm going in right now, then there is a 100% chance that things are only going to get worse. Because there is a law, which is a scientific law. I'm not sure you've heard of it before, but there's a law called the law of entropy. You might have learned about it in class. And it states that when you leave things to their own devices, more chaos emerges. So it won't actually sort itself out. And if the relationship at the minute is on treading on eggshells, if you don't do anything about it, it's only going to get worse. And we want to be able to help you make the step into direction where this relationship and this family is only going to be getting better and better as time goes on. And so, like, I made my decision that I'm going to go about and do it anyway, because what I'm working towards is having a life where I'm a better son, I'm a better father, I'm a better uncle, I'm a better cousin. Like, I'm about to have literally in the next couple of days, my sister's giving birth, I'm about to become an uncle. What I can say is now I have more time, and not just more time, but I've worked on myself and my relationship with self, and I've done a lot of personal growth. I'm going to be able to show up as a better uncle. In fact, I'm going to be the best uncle that she's going to have. Or he. I don't know if it's going to be a he or a she yet. But this is what I'm saying, is that when we're working towards a goal, I think it's really important that first and foremost we put out there what it is that we're really working towards, not on the surface level what we want. So for you, I can tell straight away, like, biggest, most important thing is the family. So if you was to describe for me, right, first of all, this is a great way to do this exercise. I got told by one of my mentors, who's he's literally done like $1 billion in sales, but mostly impacted people's lives and helped families like restructure themselves. But one of the things that he teaches is this thing where you create contrast by looking at two different outcomes, two different scenarios. So what I want you to picture right now, just a little exercise, you can close your eyes for me. What I want you to do is just imagine right now that your family over the next 1 year, 12 months, whatever, I want you to actually picture the absolute worst case scenario as to what would happen for your family, regardless of what you do with the business or whatever. Just whatever happens with your family, what would that look like? What would it look like if, for whatever reason, the arguments between you and your wife get worse and worse? The kids start to be affected by your disputes that you're having. What starts to happen then? And how does that feel? And just sit with that right now. Picture it in your mind. And imagine your kids coming up to you and saying, why is it that you and mummy are always arguing all the time? Why is it that you're never taking us out for lunches? Why don't you spend more time together? And they're asking all these questions, and you're like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't do that thing before. Maybe it's because I missed the opportunities. I don't know. And then imagine going further than that. Like go to 5 years, and things are still getting worse. You guys are talking about potential divorces. You guys are like putting things onto each other and accusing each other of potentially like sleeping with other people or like looking at other women and men, and it's just getting to a point where there's no love there anymore whatsoever, and you're just with each other because you have been with each other for a very long time. You're not with each other because you genuinely care about each other. Imagine how that feels. Imagine your kids growing up and not actually believing that they're worthy and deserving of a relationship to which they're going to experience love, because everything that they've seen by spending time with you is the opposite. This is what this is about, truly. So the reason why it's so important to explore this is because people don't go far enough. You have to be able to really visit what that dark place is in order to experience the opposite. And so this is a beautiful exercise that we're going to do now. So which, before I even take you down that route, how did that feel, man? Just exploring that.
Lonely. For me, very lonely.
Yeah.
Where it took me was a very lonely place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very real, because men's greatest need is companionship. We don't want to be alone. We want to be left alone, but we don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I feel that, because it's like, yeah, I've been there myself before. I've seen it happen, and even though you're together, it's like you still don't feel like you have each other. So it's not the one. And eventually, there's only one place that it can get to is because there's a spiritual separation that has happened many years before, but the physical separation might be delayed for another 25 years, and so it feels like hell. But I want to take you down the heaven pathway right now, and I want you to close your eyes again. This time, picture yourself in 1 year's time, like actually having the relationship going to the absolute positive direction. So not just that you've got more time with one another, but the time that you actually have now is just like the good old days, just like when you first got together, just like when it was when you had that year of the marriage and the twins getting together, and you're having so many more beautiful moments in the relationship that are just as significant. Imagine the relationship that you have with your wife right now is that it's not you're trying to get out of the house as quick as possible to not be stuck into an argument, but you literally can't wait for her to get home. You're welcoming her. You're looking at the time. When's my wife going to get back? And she's thinking the exact same thing, right? Like, imagine if your kids are all running up to you and her, and they're asking the questions like, why are you and mummy always like hugging each other and running up to each other all the time? Why are you like that? And they're the exact same with you. They're modeling what it's like because they're seeing the amount of love that you and her have for one another. Imagine how that feels. And then ask yourself, what if this starts to happen in the positive direction and it keeps on growing like this? The love is actually growing instead of dissipating and fading away over the next 5 years. How does that now feel?
Relief,
Mm-hmm.
mate. Definitely a relief. A weight gone, happy.
I can feel that. It's real. And I can see how important it is to you.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is.
And so I want to ask you this question over here now as well. If you think about the two directions that we were taking the path towards then, as to the one to which person has a family which is breaking apart, like it's really on the edge of failure, of divorce. And then you have the other way where you've literally got the best family possible, where you're a great father, a great husband, and you have an amazing, beautiful family. Like, what do you think would be the type of decisions that would take a person towards the life of which they really want and the life of which that they really want to avoid? Do you think that the person who has earned the right to have the life that they really want made decisions based off of fear, or they made decisions based off of faith? Which one do you think it was?
Faith.
Why?
Because fear is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah. Fear will keep you stuck, right? Keep you in the same place.
I think that's where I've been for quite a while.
Yeah. And it's not that you're afraid of losing money. It's not that you're afraid of like it not working. You're just afraid that the relationship
failing.
won't work. Yeah, it's like I'll become a
Fear of
failure,
failure.
and if I become a failure, then I will be rejected. That's the big fear. I'll be rejected by my wife, and I'll be if this is how I am right now. If I now risk it and it goes even worse, this is going to be really difficult to climb back from. And so the shift that you got to have in the mindset is like, what if instead of trying to always avoid looking at the potential failures of who you could be as a husband, as a father, you started actually focusing your attention on who you could be like when everything goes right? Because it feels for me, like energetically I can feel it on the call, like it feels for me that you've been so focused on everything that could go wrong for a very long time, and you haven't actually focused on that picture of what if it all goes so good.
Yeah.
And this is what you're gonna have. Like, I can see your room right now, it's like kitted up with PlayStation, the television, so I know what's probably going into your mind. And one thing that it doesn't look like you have too much of is the positive future that's going into your mind. So if you think about it, you've got all these memories of the past in your subconscious mind right now, in your heart. And that's why if you're operating from that identity, there's no way that you're going to be able to take these decisions which are more focused on your long-term success of your family. What has to really shift is your mindset, to which you're focused now on your future, right?
Yeah.
And seeing what that could be like if everything went right. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, going back to the scenarios of what we were discussing before, it's like we've already explored the one to which you basically you go and consult your wife. Why? Because you're afraid of what she's going to say if you go and do something, without consulting her.
Yeah.
The other scenario is you don't necessarily consult her first, but like Carlton said, you show up to her with the cash. When she does find out eventually,
Yeah.
and then she's literally going to be like, there's a potential reaction that will come from it.
Yeah.
So what I want to explore right now, because we've explored the worst case scenario of what happens with the first scenario,
Yeah.
but we haven't explored the worst case scenario of what happens in the other scenario that we looked at. So let's say, for example, she did look at you succeed with this because you went and did it yourself. If she did react to it in a negative way, how long would this one thing, do you think, play on her mind and be something that she would hold against you?
If it worked, I don't think it would be that long. It wouldn't hold with her. She does tend to hold things years down the line.
Yeah.
But this, if it's worked in a positive way, I think she'd grow out of it, so to speak.
Yeah. Where are you based, by the way?
Cambridgeshire.
Really?
Why?
Because I got a little story to share with you and potentially an opportunity. So give us one sec. What I'm gonna do right now is, because you just reminded me so much of some amazing people that I met in Japan, and like they essentially started this business. If I share my screen with you, Carlton, can you give me the feature of sharing screen? Does that let me do it on this? One sec. Oh wait, I think I can just share anyway.
Yeah.
Why is it not letting me do it? Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So this is Kieran and Amanda, right? And they actually met up with each other. I think it was in Australia. They were working with each other when they were like in their early 20s. And the guy on the left here, Kieran, he was a bit like you. He was the risk taker, the one that was, wanting to essentially do something that was alternative to how he was earning, because he felt as though he couldn't give the time to his missus that he really wanted to give. Now, bear in mind, they didn't actually have kids back when he was exploring it, but the situation was that Amanda, as soon as she saw what he was doing, she said that it was a scam. She said that if you put your money over there, you're gonna be stupid. You're gonna mess up. You're making a bad decision, and it's just another one of those things that you've tried before. So don't do it. Avoid it. But what he decided to do is he decided to do it anyway, and it actually got to the point where he was doing well. He was making sales. But still, she thought that this is still a scam. You're like, if you're not being scammed, you're scamming other people. And she only started to change her mind about it when she went to an event. So Kieran took her to an event and said, "You're coming with me to London, and we're going to go and see some of these people, and then you're going to tell me whether or not this is still a scam." So she went to the event and she was very skeptical. But as soon as she got there, and she felt the energy and the presence of the people, and she noticed like where their hearts were, she was like, "Oh my God, what even is this? This is so good." And everything shifted in her perspective to the point where she then not only joined him in doing the business, but became one of the top the top distributors in Europe, essentially. And now like they've changed thousands of people's lives like over the last 4 or 5 years. But the biggest cool thing about it is that if you can see here, they've got their one baby that they've had together. I think it's maybe 2 right now, and they literally just bought a new home in Bali, where that's where they live like for most of their days. And so, like, imagine if he didn't. This is the question. This is what you need to think about. Imagine if he actually listened to his missus back then, Amanda, and he was like, "You know what? You're right. Probably a bad thing to do. I'm gonna stay away from that, and I'll just continue working on like in the warehouse, whatever it was that he was doing before." What would what would Amanda say to him 5 years down the line when he hadn't gone and done that thing? She'd probably be saying something like,
why do you listen to me? You should have, if you knew it was best, you should have done it.
Didn't you realize that I was afraid or whatever? You were supposed to be the one that took the risk. That was me testing you. That was me, like, you know, reacting how I'm supposed to. I'm a woman. That's how I'm wired. Like, you're the one who's supposed to go out and do the thing. So,
That was me giving you an opportunity to be a man and lead the family in the way that you think is best.
Yeah.
yeah. So
I'm right here with you. I've never done this exercise. Like, this is the first time I'm hearing of it as well. I was closing out. So, like, we're in this together, Alex.
Yeah.
So, this is it. It's like, as you've said, the worst case scenario when the worst case scenario when you know that this business works. So the real question is, how well do you know that you're actually going to get results with this business in the next few weeks?
By the way, Carlton has been telling me it's potential, like, very quick.
Yeah. So if we was to put that on a scale of 1 to 10 right now for how likely it is that you're going to get paid, like just paid, because with the affiliate marketing, did you ever get paid for the...
I got nothing. I nothing happened.
Cool. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you believe it is right now that you're going to get paid from this opportunity within the next 4 to 6 weeks?
I'm a 9, 10.
9 out of 10.
I believe how it is going about. I do believe, like, very strongly.
Very strongly, right? So
yeah.
If it's a 9 or a 10, then that means the worst case scenario truly as to what's going to happen is you're going to get the cash in about 4 to 6 weeks. Your missus is going to find out that you got the cash. She's going to be pissed off that you made the decision for a little bit of time. And she's even going to be skeptical that it's even like a real thing or you're actually helping people. But then eventually, when she sees the growth that's happening with yourself, like what happened with Kieran, it's one of these things that will switch for her. Whether it's just like the story of Kieran Amanda and she goes to an event with you. Whether it's that you go and buy your kids something that you wouldn't normally buy them. Whether it's that you give her a compliment one day that she wasn't necessarily expecting because of how different that you're showing up. One thing is just going to shift in her mind and it's eventually going to switch to the point where she's totally forgotten about that thing that you did without her actual consultation at first. So that is the absolute worst case scenario that we're talking about.
Doesn't seem so bad now.
Yeah, whenever you explore it, like, it always seems better, like when you go through it. But I think looking at the worst case scenario is very pessimistic. So I always like to make it a fair thing. So what about the best case scenario? What could potentially happen there for the relationship if you went ahead and did it without consultation?
Cool. I might actually get some fun time with her.
Yeah. Literally.
Just before we continue, when we were doing from the exercise that me and you did together, it was like Mo was like the invigilator of it, right? When he was telling his story about his parents, and was it the law of entry or
entropy? Yeah.
Entropy. Mm-hmm. Great. I was thinking, I'm like, the reason why now that they're retired and there's no reason why they shouldn't be spending time together, one of the reasons why that happened is because they've spent how many 20, 30 years practicing bad habits, practicing the things that they didn't want to do. It's not spending any time together, not even having the mental headspace and not having that trust that we're both going to do the right stuff. Not just for on paper to be above water, but the right things for the relationship and for the family in general. Like, and this is one of the reasons why sales companies let go of the entire sales team, bar like the top performers, is because once people have spent time building bad habits, it's so hard to undo.
Yeah.
And I was doing the exercise. I was thinking, because there's times when I've had to tell my missus, she's like, I don't understand what you do. And I'm like, you don't need to understand. Do you want to, or do you need to? Like, you don't need to, but you do need to understand. And this is something I had to like, remember the talk. I'm like, look, you got 999 credit score. You're above board. You built this entire man cave by yourself. Like, you've done well. You're a great guy, personally, and just even on paper as well. Do you get what I'm saying? I had to give myself that kind of pep talk and be like, look, I went to my missus. I think I even told Adam about this, Mouhammed about this as well. I'm like, I went to her and I told, look, I'm the guy that can change your life. Do you like your job? No. Are you happy doing what you're doing? No. Would you keep doing it for another 30, 50, until you retire? Would you be happy with that? No. I'm the guy that can change your life, and you need to treat me as such. Otherwise, I'm not going to feel appreciated, and it's not going to go well. Do you want me to change your life? Yes. Yep. Act like it. And there was a bit of she was taken aback. There was a bit of like, as they do. But women like being put in their place. It's not about them being put down.
you hadn't met my wife.
See, let me tell you this right now. She hasn't met the Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Into life yet, because he's not here yet. He's coming out on this call right now.
I definitely feel a hell of a lot better, and I thank you for that. Literally, because I don't know whether it's just me as a person. I've always been a yes man. Just nod your head. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably the most laid back, easiest person. I hate confrontation. I hate anything like that. I've never had a fight in my life. Never thrown a fist in my life. Just because I'm just so laid back, I just let things blow over, forget about things quite easily. I've always wanted to be like. I think it all come down. It's like when I'd done a bit of counselling, because when I messed up my like mental health and bits and pieces, I tried counselling, and we sort of dug a little bit into where it all stemmed from, blah blah blah, and it sort of went back to sort of being in my family and me sort of being like the black sheep of the family. I'm a middle child. I've got a younger sister. I've got an older brother. Why are you shaking your head?
I'm just like you're describing me right now. Like I'm the exact same.
So it's my brother was golden boy, as me and my mates joke about, because a lot of my mates, they're the middle child or they're the youngest child, and we joke that their older siblings are like they're the golden boy, golden child, and then obviously my younger sister. She's the sister. She's the girl. Do you know what I mean? So, golden boy. There's the girl, and there's just me plodding along. It's like my brother does. I don't really know what he does. He works at a building society. Now he works for a company in London doing mortgages and like some mad stuff. And my sister's a beautician, and I'm just your general builder, so to speak, carpenter, your dog's body. And I think for what I've always been like second best. Do you know what I mean? And I think for the past like year or two now, I've always just sort of looked and sort of, I want to be that person now. I want to be on the other side. And I think that's what sort of got me into like the affiliate marketing, and what made me sort of like, okay, I want to make this happen. I want to make a name for myself and let's say I want to make everyone else proud. And like my wife proud, even my mum and dad. That it's not that they didn't believe in me. They were very cautious of what I'd done, because yes, I made stupid decisions, and they've always been like cautious of me. And my wife sort of took over the role from my mum being cautious for me. And like I said, I want to be that person now. I want to be the person that people can come to if they want a hand or help, or I want to be that person that say, yes, right, do you want, we can buy that. You want to buy it? Let's buy it. So I mean, not having to sort of can't afford it. It's like go into a shop and you're like picking stuff up that you want to eat and said, no, I've just got to go to the Tesco's own brand. Do you know what I mean? It's yeah, I want to be that one that's just sort of I want that. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
There's,
So I'm at a point now where I think I've like I said, I'm not upset on where I am because I know for what I've got and what I've done with my life, I can be proud of. But I've never had anything to show for myself. I've like, if there's something I've wanted, I've never bought it. So I mean, I've never treated myself in a way. My treat at the moment is playing my game. I'll sit every night and play Call of Duty, and buying that game is my treat. Every year when it comes out, I'll buy that game. That's my treat to myself, really. As well, I've had my car for 10 years now. Had the same car for 10 years, and I want to buy a new car. I want to buy a motorbike. I got a motorbike license 8 years ago. Never owned a bike. It's like I just want to make. I want to make something happen. I need to make it happen.
wow.
So yeah, there's a bit more of a story for you.
No, that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing, brother. And
Yeah,
I can see the same way I said, like, I've got some of the stuff that you want. You've got some of the stuff that I want. Beautiful family, wife, kids, man cave, your own home. And there's a word that God gave me, the universe, whatever, my higher self, whatever you want to call it. And it was, I can relate with that very well because it's not about, this is what I heard. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving me right. The Carlton that I want to be, the Alex that you want to be.
yeah,
And that's what's going to be best for you. And you know that's what's going to be best for them as well.
yeah,
Not just the man that can pull out the wallet anytime he wants, but the man that can pull out his heart or his mind. The same way Mouhammed's pulled out his mind for us and given us a transformational conversation right now.
yeah.
And so it's like, the question is like, what do I have to do to get in alignment with proving myself right so that I can give the best for myself and for them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like I also want to say thank you for sharing because that was real and it was from the heart, and I can like while I was shaking my head so much because I was like, man, I relate so much to everything that you're saying. I'm also a middle child. I also get called the black sheep of the family. Like I stick out like a sore thumb. Imagine going to like all your family's houses and everybody is like Asian Pakistani and you're the only guy with huge dreads and a beard like with black skin. I'm the black sheep of the family and it's hilarious, but you know, I heard this one quote that changed everything for me, which was from a guy from the US, and he's like a millionaire from over there, very young guy, but he dropped a gem, and he basically said that the thing about all the black sheeps is that we eventually become the goats.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm. You actually have the most potential, and she doesn't see this because the vision was given to you, it wasn't given to her. The cool thing is that she's included in the vision anyway. So as long as a man, you come across with this genuine masculine energy, a healthy masculine energy of being the king of the household, and you have that that equanimity, that composure, and you're saying, you know what, I've got this. I know where we're going. That type of masculinity will be very attractive to her anyway. That's one thing that will transform. But it's another thing that you're saying about being the yes man. Like if you're always saying yes to everything and everyone, avoiding confrontation, going into fights or whatever, then there is a warrior inside of you that is being laid dormant. And why do you think it is that you're playing so much Call of Duty all the time? There's no surprise. I'm playing Call of Duty all the time because it's like, I want to be like essentially those guys who go into war and fighting and all this shit. Like this is why everybody's so addicted to playing it, because what they're seeing on the outside is something that they want for themselves deeply within, and it is within you, like that animal. And we want to bring that back out, because it's from having that you're going to become like absolutely magnetic to your wife, but also your kids are just literally going to be looking up to you as their hero. Truly. And that's what we want. Like it's so much more than a freaking done for you business model. And I think you're seeing this right now. This is about transforming men, women, families, so that we can essentially have better communities and better leadership. So yeah, I mean, like Carlton said, I think he asked a really great question, which was, in order to bring yourself back into alignment with the identity of who you want to be, the man of the household that you want to be, what's the best next moves?
I want to fucking do it.
Yeah.
You're doing it already, man. You're doing it right now, and it's beautiful to see, honestly.
Yeah, I want to do it. I want to prove, like you're saying, I want to prove myself. I want to prove it to myself that I can do it, not everyone think that it's a myth.
Myths are myths until they become legends.
Yeah. Don't get too deep on me. Don't get too deep. Yeah, man, I want to do this.
Yeah,
honestly, like you owe it to yourself. You're doing it already. You're doing the work that money can't buy right now. And I'm actually in tears because I know the system works. We've got case studies where I wasn't actually involved. Sure, I helped Mouhammed create the offer, and I've contributed to the whole thing, but the system works without me. But I'm invested in you. Mouhammed's invested in you, as you wouldn't be having this conversation otherwise. And you coming on board doing the best thing for yourself and for your family, I would be taking personal responsibility, not just professional responsibility, but personal responsibility to making sure that you become that person and that you get success in this. Money aside, I'll make money by making you money. I know that for sure. But aside from that, like, I really want to see you win. And because you're a few years ahead of me, you've got some of the stuff that I want. I want to see it perfected in your life, honestly.
Brother, like I want to share something real quick with you as well, like, because I feel the exact same way that Carlton feels. Like earlier on in the call, I was in tears as well from some of the things that you were sharing and the transformation that I'm seeing. Like, I want to show you right now how much, like, as much as you might look to me and Carlton and see that we have some of the things that you want, it's genuinely vice versa. Like, I want to prove this to you. I'm not making this shit up. So I do a quick screen share and I show you my vision board. And one of the things that you'll see, like literally top left corner, so happy and grateful right now, married to my dream wife, the most beautiful feminine woman on the planet, mother of my dream twin boys and twin girls, most amazing children on the planet. That's literally what I want right now. It's all right there. So this is the thing. It's like looking back at like what you truly have right now, doubling down on that as like your story, but inspiring everybody, inspiring all of us black sheep that we want to have that unique lifestyle and want to become leaders of our household. And things can shift for you this quickly, man. Like we're here for each other as a brotherhood. That's what it is.
I feel it. I do. I really do. I really do. And it's completely like the whole process of doing it like the affiliate marketing side of things. This completely overrides. Okay, yeah, they're probably a bigger company. They've got bigger assets, bigger, but there's nothing compared to actually like compassion and the way you two, even like just you two are, and just how even just I can even just sit here because I've had confident issues my whole life. I've struggled speaking to people on the phone, even when I get a phone call from like O2 or something like that. I struggle talking, but from now, I don't feel that. And that's God honest truth. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's mad. It's mad.
Yeah.
Do you know why that happens?
Why?
Because talking is a function of breathing.
Yeah.
And what we have here, not just in our company and in our clients and in our community, what we have on this call right now is a conducive atmosphere with enough emotional, spiritual, and intellectual oxygen where we can actually breathe. And then we can talk. Because if you can't breathe, and we've all felt like that, where we couldn't breathe, where the chest was tight, and like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to talk about this, I don't know what to say. Where we can actually breathe, that's where we can fully talk. And it's up to each of us as individuals to manage our atmosphere and make sure that it has enough oxygen, enough of the elements, the right elements for us to actually function the way we need to function. And you're like, we can see the Alex, the legend Alex, like breathing now. Even the way you're sitting now is different.
Well, hold on, we didn't make it.
Yeah, you in the limelight.
This is it. This is it. And this is the first of many conversations. Like, and you see how we're having this conversation with yourself. Imagine like your clients having the same conversation. Imagine you being a part of it, you being the one facilitating this exercise for people. Like, it's both.
I feel like I want to be part of it. I generally do.
Yeah.
Because what you've got is something that's different to anything else that I've seen.
It is.
Generally.
Like, one of the ways that we describe what we do, it's like, it's essentially a personal growth, it's a personal growth program attached to a compensation plan. So there's money you can earn by growing, and the more that you grow as a person, just the more that you just earn as a knock-on effect. But it's not just about how much you grow, because from having that full cup, you can actually pour from that into other people. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so that's another thing that like you can really look at is like, if family is a big value of yours, I tell you what's really cool: having family that is not necessarily blood related, but is still connected on a soul level. I have family everywhere, man. I got family like Carlton, who's from Nigeria. I got family Anthony, who's from Wales. I got you, who's coming into the family from London. I got other people from my family in London too, in my organization. I got family in the US, and it's like the cool thing about what we do is you can have sisters, brothers, uncles, children, but it's all family. So one of the things that I was going to say, because you're in Cambridge, is potentially the opportunity. Tomorrow there's actually going to be an event happening in London. There's about 400 or 500 entrepreneurs coming from all over the world who are a part of our community. And the reason why I brought it up was because Kieran and Amanda are going to be some of the speakers. And like they're doing it in London, central London. So potentially, if you have some availability, you might be able to pop down and just experience this in terms of like what we've just had today. But on a whole different scale, because when you go to an event, there's magic that happens there. If you can attend, I'd recommend. If not, it's not the end of the world. But
yeah, I've got daddy commitments.
Well, it's okay. The next time, because Ben, who paid for your ad for you to come through, he's attending, and I told him about you.
Yeah.
And, I told him about the about you, what we were trying to do, and and he was like, "This is the best news I could have gotten before going into the event." And
cool.
So he hasn't even met you, and he's already excited for you.
Cool.
So
Where do we start? Where do we start?
This is a question.
Yeah.
This is.
I mean, next steps really is, from what I've heard, you understand everything about the business. You understand it's a 9 out of 10. You're gonna get paid, and it's literally just about letting us do the work as soon as you can do the paperwork. That's all it is now. So there's a few things, and I'm gonna let Carlton go through all of this with you, because he's able to support. I've got to probably shoot off to some of the calls, but all you got to do is secure the financing. It's dead easy. You get funding from these lenders. They'll give you everything to start your business. You don't put any money in yourself. You'll have deferred payments, because Enagic pay you an instant commission, defers the payments for a couple of months. It gives you that breathing room. And then literally it's just about letting us go and do what we're best at doing, and let us show you how good we can do. Because I think if you look at one thing as well from this conversation, this has been a transformational conversation. This is not what I'm even good at.
Yeah.
This is just what I do for fun.
Mate, you're just natural, mate. You're just natural at it.
This is like, what I'm actually good at is generating leads. That's the business
Yeah.
stuff. So, when you come on board and see how we do what we do there, then yeah, you'll be blown away, truly. So all you got to do is secure that financing with Carlton, and I looked at some options for you. You're absolutely blessed in that sense. You're not going to have any issues whatsoever. Instant payouts will come from Enagic, but also the bank will send you money in the next 24 hours or so, and then literally it's just about filling out the paperwork and getting on your onboarding call, and we'll present you the whole company. We'll introduce you to Ben, and show you to your delivery team as well. Guys will be working for you. So those are the next steps. And if you got anything that you need that Carlton can't help you with, then you got me as well, man. You got me.
Yes. Cool. Right, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, Carlton, I'll leave you to it. You and him can sort out the financing, and I'm going to shoot off, man. But absolute pleasure, honor, and so happy to have you on board, man.
Yeah, man.
Look forward to changing your life, and the twins too.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah.
man.
Really do.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
The exercise, the transformation, it touched me as well. So I appreciate you.
You're welcome, man. You take care, brother. Love you too. See you in a bit.
Take care.
Man.